Let me start with something subtle. Because this problem doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't show up as panic. It doesn't feel like a crisis. It feels like pressure. A quiet pressure to keep up. A pressure to not fall behind. A pressure to look like you're doing okay. Most people never name this pressure. They just feel tired, restless, financially tense for no clear reason. This happens because they're paying a tax without a bill. This tax is not collected by the government. It's not deducted from your paycheck. It doesn't appear as a budget line item, but it shows up in your stress. It shows up in your spending habits. It shows up in your inability to slow down. It shows up in the feeling that income is never enough. This is the psychological tax on looking successful. The dangerous part is how easy it is to fall into this trap. You don't need to be materialistic. You don't need to love luxury. You don't need to care about status. You only need to care about not looking like you're struggling. That alone is enough. Modern success is no longer defined by wealth. It's defined by appearances. Looking competent matters. Looking stable matters. Looking like a functioning adult matters. These appearances come with standards. A car that doesn't raise questions. A home that feels appropriate for your age. Clothes that signal you're put together. A lifestyle that says you're doing fine. None of these choices are extravagant. That's what makes them dangerous. They feel reasonable. They feel responsible. They feel necessary. Reasonable things become expensive when they stack. And they always stack. This pressure starts early in life. Right after school, you're expected to upgrade your lifestyle. You're expected to move out. You're expected to dress better. You're expected to stop living like a student. Not because it improves your finances, but because living cheaply feels embarrassing. Spending becomes a signal of adulthood. Career growth increases this pressure. A better job brings higher expectations. You're expected to live differently now. You're expected to drive something nicer. You're expected to live somewhere better. You're expected to eat out more. You're expected to travel occasionally. Not because you need to, but because it would seem strange if you didn't. This is how lifestyle inflation begins. Not through greed, through conformity. Cars reveal this pattern clearly. Most people don't ask what the cheapest reliable car is. They ask what car is normal for someone like them. That question is dangerous. Normal is socially defined. Social definitions are expensive. Instead of buying utility, people buy reassurance. They choose newer models. They choose longer loans. They accept payments that last for years. Not because they love the car, but because it protects their image. Housing magnifies this problem. You're not just buying space. You're buying a story about your life. A good area signals success. Respectable neighborhood signals competence. Schools signal responsible parenting. The home protects you from feeling behind. None of this feels like showing off. It feels like doing what you're supposed to do. That's how the psychological tax works. No single decision ruins you. It's death by many reasonable upgrades. Each upgrade feels small. Each one feels justified. Each one becomes permanent. Permanence is the real cost. Once your lifestyle is built on appearances, retreat feels like failure. Selling the car feels like regression. Downsizing feels like loss. Saying no feels like weakness. So people keep going, even when it hurts. Spending to look successful doesn't buy happiness. It buys fragility. Appearances require maintenance. Maintenance requires income. Consistent income. Reliable income. Never miss. A paycheck income. This is why people stay in jobs they hate. Not because they're greedy. Because their lifestyle leaves no margin. They can't slow down. They can't take risks. They can't step back. Their image depends on cash flow. Social media amplifies this pressure. Comparison used to be local. You see outcomes, not reality. Now it's global and constant. You don't see debt. You don't see anxiety. You don't see trade-offs. These images reset expectations. Reset expectations, raise costs. What once felt successful now feels inadequate. Not because life worsened, but because reference points shifted. That shift is expensive. This creates status maintenance anxiety. At higher levels, the fear is falling down. Falling down feels humiliating. Overspending becomes emotional protection. This is why high earners still feel poor. Income rises, but standards rise too. External standards never stabilize. There's always someone ahead. There's always another upgrade. The irony is cruel. Visible success often blocks real security. Car payments reduce savings. Large mortgages increase risk. Lifestyle commitments kill flexibility. Flexibility is invisible. Invisible things are undervalued. Real financial strength doesn't show. It doesn't impress. It doesn't get compliments, so it loses attention. Emergency funds aren't photogenic. Investments don't signal status. Low expenses don't create envy. So they're sacrificed first. This creates instability. Good incomes with fragile foundations. One unexpected event can break the image. A health issue, a layoff, a family emergency. The problem isn't wanting comfort. Comfort has become performance. Life turns into demonstration. This explains modern burnout. It explains why raises don't help. It explains why success feels exhausting. People aren't building lives. They're maintaining impressions. The alternative isn't poverty. It's privacy. Quietly opting out of comparison. Quietly choosing enough. Quietly prioritizing margin over image. This isn't rejecting society. It's rejecting social pressure and spending. It's asking better questions, not what people will think, but what this costs long term. What it requires you to keep earning. What options it removes. Every expense is a commitment. Commitments shape your future. People who escape this trap don't look louder. They don't look flashier. They stop paying for approval. Over time, they gain freedom. Freedom to slow down. Freedom to change direction. Freedom to absorb shocks calmly. Freedom to choose values over validation. The psychological tax doesn't vanish instantly. But awareness stops it from growing. You choose where to pay it, and where not to. This is the real shift. Not from poor to rich, but from pressured to intentional. The most expensive lifestyle isn't luxury. It's the one that demands constant proof. The quietest form of wealth is not needing to prove anything.